All right, so welcome to the fourth class in the Drawing Sacred Geometry series here at PCC. It's confusing because we lost a week for the snow, and so I'm trying to keep track. Trying to keep track of so many things in life, right? So let's see. We are going to do our little drop-in, and then today we're doing the phi ratio, which is a very different kind of geometry. And I like to make sure everybody gets a sense of the different, I would say styles, but methodology to interpreting space-time, if you will. And the thing I love about the phi, which I will get into in a minute, is that we can begin to contemplate ourselves as infinite beings, right? We're not taught to do that. So let's do a little drop in. I want to encourage everyone to take a moment and close your eyes, bring your attention inward, use your breath to connect with your body, taking a deep breath in through your nose. And relaxing and releasing on the exhale. Just letting yourself become more present with every breath. Dropping in, connecting with your body. Feeling the surface supporting you. The chair beneath you. Feeling your presence here now in space-time. Connecting with your breath. Simultaneously enlivening your system, expanding your lungs and lengthening your spine on the inhale, and gently relaxing and releasing on the exhale, becoming more vibrant and present and relaxed with every breath. And maybe with that spaciousness, doing a little inventory, taking note of how you're showing up emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. What are you showing up with? Breathing into that and making a choice as to how you would like to continue. The nice thing about stress is you can set it aside and pick it up later. So breathing into that spaciousness and that choice, give yourself a breath into your heart, finding a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to be here. To be here on this planet, to be here in this physical body, to be here in this class. So as you're ready, come on back together. Welcome everyone, lovely to see you all. My hope, we'll see how much time we have at the end, but my hope is to do a little bit more of a meditation and an expansive journey. Not too long, but something that ties in the geometry and our embodied experience here on the planet. You know, it's really a remarkable thing to have an incarnation, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it. I'm going to put in a plug today for the amazingness of being here. I couldn't have done that last week, so don't get me wrong. Everything's a go. So let's do our check-in and say hello and see if you were able to draw anything. And as always, no problem if not, just noticing where the geometry, how, and if it is showing up in your life. We just want to bring awareness to building the connection to the fundamental structure of space-time and the quantum field. All right, anybody want to start us off? Yeah, Karen.
So while I didn't draw anything last week, I saw sacred geometry a lot more in everyday life around me. When I was
Yeah.
walking past, we have this wonderful independent bookstore. When I was walking past it, there was a series of um, spy novels for like young teenagers, and there were just sacred geometry all over the covers. And then when I was at my mom's place, she's at a senior living place, I saw a lot of artwork there. It was all the sacred geometry. So that's just, I'm starting to see that more around me, which is lovely.
Oh, that is lovely. And it's just, it's opening you. There's a greater connectedness to seeing this
Yeah.
thing everywhere. Oh, that's so cool. That's such cool observations. Which bookstore? I miss it.
In Madison, Connecticut, we have this wonderful bookstore called RJ Julia, an independent
Okay.
bookstore. It's priceless.
Oh, beautiful. I just
Yeah.
had a little time zone trip. I thought you were in Portland.
Oh, no, no, no. It's 9 o'clock.
That's
The
right.
East
So
Coast.
confusing. Okay, most other people are though. All right. Thank you so much. That's perfect. It's just, where it's showing up in your awareness. And if not at all, like I always say, no pressure. Let's see. I saw Summer and Madeline. So Summer, how about go for it?
So I was working on that mandala that I had showed a couple of classes ago. And I tried practicing like the dodecahedron a couple of times and the other shapes that we were learning. And I was kind of struggling with it a little bit. And so I went back to the original sunflower and what is the lines shape called? Just the lines?
Yep, that's a dodecagon, 12 pointed
The
star.
just the okay, yeah. So I've been drawing another one of those so that I can draw another mandala, but
Mm.
see how I can make it different than the first one. Because my like long-term goal is to be able to draw a whole bunch of different mandalas and maybe turn it into like a coloring book or something like that.
Awesome. Awesome. I'd love to see that. You said you were working on the mandala, the piece before that you were working on.
Mhm.
Can
Yeah.
we see it? Do you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't colored it at all, but where is it? It looks pretty much the same as before, but all the lines
Mm.
are solidified now.
Yeah, boy, that is just sophisticated. I love it.
Oh, I see a missing line.
I don't think anybody else would have noticed that. Oh,
I see two
beautiful.
missing lines.
What's
Thank
that?
you. I see two missing lines.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, fortunately, we're just infinitely self-critical of ourselves, but that is beautiful. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting. All right, cool. Let's see. Madeline, did you jump in or did I? Okay, well, go for it.
Sure, I'll go for it.
Thank you.
I don't know if any of you walk around Mount Tabor Park or Laurelhurst Park or even in Southeast Portland, but there's a sidewalk chalk artist who does sacred geometry.
Oh, yeah.
And I ran into him at Mount Tabor on this last weekend was beautiful. It was like
Mm,
60 degrees and sunny. We had an
mm,
amazing weekend.
mm.
And I asked him, so he doesn't use a compass, he uses his body as a compass. And
No.
a demonstration of how he does the seed of life, and he pivots on his foot as like the center point, and then he just spins around on his foot to make the circles to do the seed of life. And he does these beautiful chalk mandalas in the parks and in public places all over, and it was very cool.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, that is beyond cool. I'm so glad things like that are in the world. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you, because I asked him specifically, how do you do this without a compass? And I got a demonstration. It was very cool.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I did go back to the icosahedron. I was kind of inclined to try that again.
Hmm.
We didn't do that specifically. We did that as a step. And
Right.
so it was like a middle step.
Hmm.
I went back to that as like a,
Oh, let me see. Hang on. Woo! Oh my goodness. Oh, that is spectacular with the
yeah,
shading and the back. But here, wow. Okay.
really was trying to figure out how to capture that full like 20-sided effect. But yeah,
Yes,
that
that
was really
seems
fun.
like you did. Wow. That's, we don't usually pause with the icosahedron, and I love that it's blue with the water element, and that's just, and you get the back, it's almost the 3D in how you did it.
I was really going
Beautiful.
for that. It was fun to work on.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, the icosahedron is underplayed in the icosahedron and the octahedron because they both just disappear. And so I like to give them their props, but that's awesome. Thanks for making space for it. All right, let's see. Who would like to go next? Let's check in. Remember, it's okay if you're gonna just like pass, or you can chat and text me anything, but I love to hear from everybody if we can. Yeah, Mike, how's it going? Oh, we gotta unmute you though.
I didn't do too much. I did some small ones to take to Costa Rica next week, and
Let
then
me
I
see, wait, let me see.
did this one,
Oh, yes.
finished this one today.
Mhm.
And I realized my pencil wiggled a bit, and that's why it was uneven. So I remedied that. So I'm excited to have it work perfectly now.
Awesome. So you're taking you're taking geometry to Costa Rica? Did I
I'm
understand
taking
that?
the small drawings to color small versions, yeah.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
I thought it was a 5-week class. Is it 10 weeks or 5?
Well, let's hang on to that. We'll do a check-in and then we'll do a little business pause. So we're not
Okay.
having that in the recording. Yes. Okay. So thank you. Hugh is jumping in and saying that he is passing on sharing today, but he's here, which is great. Let's see. So we've got Chris, welcome. You made it. I hope you drove safe. Alicia, Andrew, and Tiffany. All right. Let me see. Did we get everybody else? Okay. All right. Tiffany in the grass. How's it going? Do you want to unmute yourself though? Do you want to unmute yourself though? Make sure we can hear you. No problem.
That was cool. I didn't really get a chance to draw much, but I think I can keep up.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure you can. And well, let me not pressure that. Like if you can, great. And if not, that's part of why I've got the recording and the PDFs. Like not the class format of doing it with people doesn't work for everyone. So sometimes it's just, sitting and watching, and then it's familiar when you get into it the next time. So, but I'm happy to support whatever I can in midweek, and just let me know. I appreciate you hanging in there. You've been really diligent about getting things, and thank you for that, because there's always challenges and techno hiccups. So,
Sure,
all
sure.
right, thanks.
Thank you.
I love the grass, that beautiful green. That feels so good. Okay, let's see. Couple people left. Anybody want to jump in? No, Brooke says no. Do you want to just pass Brooke and say hi? And okay, great. Glad to see you here. All right. We've got Chris, Andrew, and Alicia. It looks like, yeah, Chris, hi there.
Hi, everybody. I was quickly eating before after I just got home. I wasn't here last week, so this week I watched the recording and I did the things from last week that you all did together. And so I just,
Awesome, vector equilibrium. Beautiful.
it was so fun to do, right?
Oh yeah, good way to go.
I got the things done and it was really fun to work on. And so hopefully this week I can get into it in a little and get more creative with some of these things that we're learning in class. It was just makeup week for me.
Well, awesome. Glad you're back.
Yeah.
Looks like you did well done there. It's if you don't have any, opposite of what we were saying to Tiffany, if you don't have the familiarity and they jump in, it's there's the comfort doing with the class, but looks like you made it. Fabulous. All right. Okay, so then Andrew and Alicia looked like they were on different cameras this time. So how are you guys doing? No pressure if you're in the, okay, there you are. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, I got a little off track last week, so I was able to rewatch the video this week, and I was able to just, I guess, catch up on the drawings. not really catch up, but I wanted to be able to, was it a dodecahedron that we were doing
Yes.
last week?
Yes, we
Right?
were. You're on it. Nice
Right.
lingo drop. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It was fun to draw. Boy, they really start to add up after a while, don't they?
They
Yeah,
do.
isn't that lovely?
Mhm.
I'm not sure you could see it with my lighting right now,
That's
but
okay. We can.
yeah, just what colors you end up using. I think it's orange and
Mhm.
green in this
Mhm.
case.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just beautiful shape. And then my other one, which I think looked, yeah, this was probably my more favorite of the two.
Oh,
That show up.
sweet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really love the shading that some of you do on these. It really
Mhm.
starts giving me ideas. Even while at work, my coworkers will see these and say how much they want to color them in.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's part of why it's so good to see each other's things, right? Is it's inspiring. We're like, oh, I can do that. And what I love is that we all did the vectorhedron. Wow, that was a mashup. I've never done that before. The vector equilibrium, but Andrew, the way you did it, the points are accentuated, and it just looks like way more star pop. It's super cool. You know how they're a little concentrated. I love that.
Yeah, and even putting in the circles and how you want them to match up more perfectly. So
Yeah.
you do start to go off just a little and
Mhm.
scoof it to make it work. And
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
I guess that's also part of those imperfections of it.
Yes.
Just
Very much
this
so.
does make you work on that if you're a perfectionist, is being more okay without that perfection. Because with this, like you're off a little bit, it could mean a lot, but
Right. It can mean a lot in many different ways. And it can also mean nothing, right? Like, thank you for highlighting that, because what I just love, the neutrality of the geometry. And it's just like you can't help but see your process, right? You're not getting lost in the lilies, and I mean, you can get critical about your own anything, anywhere, anytime. But I thank you for speaking to that, because
thank you.
I think that's one of the really healing, reparative aspects of the geometry that I like to focus on, is using it for the reprogramming, right? And anytime you're being critical of something, right? If you show this beautiful image and then say, oh, I can see where I missed lines, like we all, we're programmed, it's into our society. And so just using it to add the positives and observe, that distortion of, thinking that we're anything less than extraordinary, And can I ask, did you use the word scoof? Because I like that.
I think so.
I think so.
I don't know where some of these words come from.
I don't
Sometimes it's
either.
just the accent. Or
Yeah.
thank you
Sometimes
for catching that.
oh my God, I love it. I use words that we don't have for, but you know what they mean. So scoof is coming
You are
into
my
my,
kind of people. So
yay. All right. Likewise. Alicia, do you want to bring us home? Are you in there?
Hi.
Hi.
I've been able to just basically kind of look at what I've been drawing. It's been a pretty crazy week with some difficult information, so I haven't really been looking too much at this.
Well, props to you for showing up in those weeks.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate it.
Yes. I'm so glad you're here. I can absolutely relate to that. I feel like I've been pretty pummeled in the last 2 weeks. So, but I'm here. I made it.
And I'm so glad you're here too.
Yeah, good, good. I find it so helpful to ground in the geometry. And as you know, I've said that quite often. So I love to be able to show up and connect in those grounded ways, right? Because otherwise I'm off planet. I'm like, get me out of here. So, okay. So the phi ratio, this is a very different, oh, hang on a second. Okay, so if you tend towards the math end of things, this shape is very satisfying. This is a different type of access point into, we could say the geometry of space-time, right? We've been doing the seed of life, everything being based in the seed of life. The phi ratio is in the seed, right? But it feels very different. And it's the phi, and drawing it is how I've actually fallen in love with math. I didn't think I could, but this is the one shape, and these are the equations that have warmed me past my math trauma. So welcome, Leiko. Good to see you. Glad to have you here. We're just diving into the information, so perfect timing. Let's do it. Let's look at a couple slides, but you've seen some of this before. You've seen most of it before. So we're just going to do a quick review, and then we will get into drawing. I don't remember seeing Andy before. Andy's joining us. Oh boy, my memory is failing me. Yeah, so not too much info, and then we will get into drawing. Some of it will look familiar. Welcome, Andy. Good to have you. We're just going into some of the information. Looks like we are recording successfully. So here we go. I'm gonna go into my favorite. It's just a couple more slides that I want to show you past what we looked at before. So remembering the infinite nature of this pattern, right? This is a really easy way to connect with the geometry. This spiral is everywhere. Certainly, these are little esoteric slides. You're not going to see a lizard moving around too often. But just remembering, beginning to, just like, Karen is seeing the geometry in different books in different ways. The phi and this infinite shape is, I think, one of the most prevalent expressions of space dividing itself, right? So this pattern is, you remember, on cosmological scale, right? This universality, and then also on a tiny scale, connecting us and our DNA, and the spiral, that geometry of, on the both molecular level and then also quantum level, right? So this geometry, there's in standard model physics, there is a thing called the vacuum catastrophe, the fabulous word. And what that is that Einstein's theory of relativity could not bridge both the quantum and the cosmological, right? The equations did not match up. And so the thing that bridges everything, the one thing that is on both scales is space, right? That little thing that we left out of all the equations. Remember that renormalization, we just swept it right under the rug. If you factor in space and energy, which has a geometry, that's the way you bridge the vacuum catastrophe. I love that word. But it's just omnipresence. We don't necessarily think of our bodies as designed by this shape. But if you think about that, our DNA and our genes hold this geometry, it makes sense that there's so many expressions on our body. And let's see, I think this is the reminder, but I want to keep going with the body. Where'd the body go? Oh, the body's in a couple slides, but we'll come back to the body. But just a reminder, there's three things here. I'm going to come out of it. There's three things about the phi that are really cool, and each is unique. One is the proportion, right? A to B. I'll go back into the slides. The proportion, the masculine and feminine, and then the ratio. Let me go into both of them, all three of them. So this one, I like to highlight the proportion, right? So the ratio that allows this shape to spiral infinitely is this portion of B, segment B, to segment A, right? Segment B is 1, and it's not a ratio of 1 to 2, right? B and A. It's a ratio of 1 to 1.618, right? So A is 1.618, B is 1, and it's the relationship of those that repeat themselves infinitely large or infinitely small, right? They either add or divide itself. Second cool part is the Fibonacci sequence, right? This is the equation where I got over my math trauma. So you can see it's the structural support for the spiral. It's the sort of masculine element that partners with the feminine, not being binary. We all have both on every side of the spectrum. And this is the shape that harmonizes, right? It brings proportionately, relationally, the masculine and the feminine together. And hopefully you remember this slide from last time, because again, this to me speaks of the creator, however you conceptualize of that, source consciousness, God, whatever. This sophisticated equation, just, we couldn't think of this in our finite, limited consciousness, right? You've got the equation from left to right, adding up 5 + 8 is 13, 8 and 13 is 21, and on and on. But then you remember, you look down the far left, far right column, and it's, you know, down, down, and down, same equation, 55 and 89 is 144. All of these numbers being very significant, just so you know. And then, you know, you can add the left, the first column down, and it does the same thing. And then also the middle column down. So every single aspect of this equation, and then of course, right to left is going, although that would be minuses, is related and depends on itself to replicate, right? And that's part of the harmony of it, is it doesn't need any other integers. This is the only equation in all of mathematics that is uses itself to add or subtract, right? You're not adding anything into it, which is part of the harmonics. This is a really cool shape. We're gonna do the blue lines. Well, we're gonna do the red lines as well, but a lot of times you see the phi as the spiral of the red spiral, and that's what I was showing you in the nature. Nature, I'm just going to leave it at that. But there's also the way space divides itself with the rectangular angles, right? And I'll try to show you. Usually it's hard to get how cool this thing is the first time around, right? Because you're just sort of basically doing step by step, but the infinitely repeating nature of this pattern is just so cool. So all of these images are the phi ratio. They are all harmonically dividing space according to that equation, right? The 1 to 1.618. And we're going to see a couple of them. So you don't always necessarily see the spiral. You can see this is a golden rectangle. You can see this boundary. This is the segment of 1, and you're not seeing the 1.618. This is the segment of 1, which is the golden rectangle, and all sorts of incredible harmonics in that. There it is, right? This is the ratio. This is the Fibonacci in our fingers, right? So showing up in our bodies from the tip of our fingers to the wrists, and then also from the wrist to the elbow. And I think you hopefully remember that our whole body is like tip of the finger to the elbow is 1, and then tip of the finger across to the shoulder is 1.618. Our entire body is in this relationship. I got to put those slides up higher, don't I? But this, you know, many, many times, actually probably most of the time, that we have iconic images and enduring pieces of art, they incorporate this ratio. And it's not as though the artist was saying, oh, let me do the measurements here. This is an organic expression that adheres to that mathematic harmonic, right? And yeah, they're not sitting there thinking about the math and proportions and putting certain pieces here and there. They resonate because they adhere to that, that ratio. Take a look at this. I don't have this slide in here because it's slightly off topic, but have you guys seen the slide where the cloud up here of God kind of looks like a brain, and that Adam is sitting there sort of connecting with the consciousness of the universe? I saw that. I don't know if you could, you know, in a search online, you could just say like Michelangelo's creation and find that and just stare at it for a minute, but it really looks like a brain after a while. Fascinating what they've created, probably knowingly or unknowingly. So again, space dividing itself in that relationship and that proportion, and it creates this this resonance, right? Like we saw the Eiffel Tower last time, we saw the Taj Mahal. There's a resonance with things that we inherently feel are organically like harmonious. I keep using that word because of its harmonious proportions. But we're drawn to pieces that have this proportion, even though we don't know that they have this proportion, right? So it's kind of sneaky in everywhere, in art and in architecture. I might have put the, yes, I did, the Parthenon, right? And then the Eiffel Tower. But it's all here. And you know what? It's part of, like, I do not use the word conspiracy, right? But it's part of an underlying plan that, like, if you start to break down a kind of inherent structure, then it starts to suggest this larger plan that some of us have to call conspiracy, right? But it's an invisible element that directs our consciousness. And the people who know how important it was incorporated it intentionally so that it's invisible, but it's still resonating with us. And I don't know that I can say that about the art. I mean, yes, the proportion, but with the architecture for sure. And then you remember from the beginning of class, part of what I talk about is using, bringing your awareness to the geometry, and in large measure, religions, current religions, and then also current commercialism and marketing, right? Like beginning to understand how much geometry is used to influence us. You can bet, you could like put money on the fact that there is, if there is a powerful corporate presence in our life, it has somehow incorporated the phi ratio into their logo because it's much more powerful and influencing our psyche. And so we're not going in from the flower of life and the seed of life, but the phi spiral, here it is in the dodecahedron, kind of in complex ways that I don't know how to speak to, but it's also in the icosahedron. It's going to be in the other platonic solids because they're all related to each other in very complex ways. And of course, shout out to the crop circles. This is one of the more famous crop circles, the Julia set that was made in 1996 in plain sight, broad daylight, right across from Stonehenge. Lots of people sat in this thing and started channeling different civilizations, speaking to us through the harmonic proportion of, the universe. Okay, so then just keeping an eye out, right? It's in the natural world. We're going to be coming up on spring pretty soon. And seeing it everywhere in the man-made world, in the architecture, in the art, but also just using plants, indoor plants, just using the natural world to remember, right? It's all about remembering our organic, innate patterning, right? It's the food you eat, right? There's no phi spiral in Cheetos. However, they are tasty sometimes. And then, talking about fractalization and how the Fibonacci sequence creates a fractal and infinitely repeating pattern. Human beings are infinitely repeating patterns again and again. And it has taken me a while to understand fractals, to understand how they are related to the phi ratio and how those harmonics can just repeat infinitely. But if you ever find artwork, phi ratio videos where the Mandelbrot set just continues to repeat on and on and on, highly recommend looking into those. And having this along with the seed of life and Metatron's cube, it's all influencing and it's all harmonizing, and it's all, oh, I don't have the video optimized, but it's all here to let me just show you that really quick. I think we can do it if I optimize it. I gave up on that for a minute because when I say Mandelbrot set, it's the original pattern, right? He's the guy who, I don't know enough about Mandelbrot, but this is, I think we can show it a little bit. This is an example of how the fractalizing phi just repeats itself in such a cool way. It just, I hope it's working. It's probably a little choppy, but this sets the phi, the fractalizing shape will just repeat again and again and again. And I'm sort of showing this, and I'm going to promise you it's really challenging to understand the phi the first go of it, because it is so extraordinary. It's so all encompassing. It's just it's infinitely amazing. This thing goes on for like 5 minutes with different iterations, but I think that's a little bit excessive right now. Anybody have thoughts? Does anybody, is the gist of the infinite nature of this coming across? How it's just this repeating pattern that will go on and on and on. And obviously we're not going into the negative space. We can't visualize of that. So we only look at the addition properties. So additional properties. All right. Brooke is perhaps attending to the new dog. We don't know. Everybody else seems to be around. Let's see. Yeah, Madeline.
I just have a question about the tool that was in one of those. Is
Mhm.
it like a phi ratio compass tool?
It is. Okay, I can do it.
So it's someone has built a compass that will always do the 1 to the 1 point
Yes.
regardless of
Calipers. Yes, they are
first.
called calipers, and you
Okay.
can find them in an art store, but yes, it will always have that that ratio.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And I've spent quite a bit of time with this shape and still feel like I don't understand so much of it. I just know there is so much left. Like the calipers, I've never worked with them, right? But that would be so cool to see what comes of them. And I will say for me, because I do so much with the crop circles, I was studying. I used to draw the phi using graph paper, and we would just draw square by square by square. And I was like, I am missing some fundamental patterns here. And then I was working with that crop circle, like deeply and intensely. I led one class that was all about that circle. And then all of a sudden I figured out how to draw the phi in the way we're going to draw it today, which is way more satisfying or frustrating, depending on your experience. I don't want to front load you. So I think we will get into it. Anybody else have thoughts or questions before we do? No? All right. Okay, so okay, great. Hopefully we'll do it in time to get to this meditation, but we'll see how we do. Okay, so I believe there was one change that I'm going to remember. We're going to always do landscape orientation, right? So go ahead and orient your paper that way. I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to close this out. I believe, I hope that I updated this. Let's see. I think we can do 4-inch radius. I love a 4-inch radius, and then I think, yeah, but sometimes, see, the larger circle gives us the ability to go smaller, and sometimes, let's just do it. I think most of the time it works out. Sometimes people's compasses can't open that wide, but there's lots of ways to work with that. Okay, so we're going to use a 4-inch radius on our compass, right? Nice and big. And what we're going to do is we're going to start drawing from the left. And it's going to look like, I'm going to show you, it's going to look like this ultimately. So what you want to do to get that is measure 5 inches in from the left, measure 5 inches in on the top, and then make a little mark. And then measure 5 inches in on the bottom and make a little mark, right? We're making marks on the top and the bottom, and that's going to give us a vertical line, right? And just take your time with this. There's no rush, right? So measuring in from the left margin to 5 inches on the top and the bottom, right? And then that is going to give you a nice vertical line, right? So we're just connecting those two marks that are both 5 inches in. So we're drawing this just in, but it's not centered, because we want our shape to be on the left side so that we can build to the right. So 5 inches in on the top and the bottom, making a little mark, and then creating that vertical line. And once you've got that vertical line, making a little mark at the 5.5-inch point, which you remember is the center of the page. Well, the center of the vertical.
Could you scroll up just a pinch?
I sure can. How about that?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, so just 5 inches in, nice vertical line. And here we go. Andrew does not have to be perfect right off the bat. Starting from scratch with the complete acceptance of the process.
But I'm not comfortable with that.
I is that Mike? Oh my God, or Hugh? I can't see everybody. That sounded like Mike. Was that you? Oh boy, I can only
Hugh.
see 4 of you. That was Hugh. All right, so yep, nicely played. Well done. Yep. So Andrew, is that working? We got our vertical line top and bottom.
I guess I'm a little confused.
Yep.
So from the very top with the
Yes.
roller, it's just you're starting from the top of the page, a roller's length down and 5 inches to the right. So the drawing in the left, upper
Yes.
left,
Yes.
roller is an inch from the top of the paper down, or
This doesn't matter. This
okay,
length doesn't matter.'re just
it
making a
just
mark.
left to right. It should be 5 inches.
Exactly. Yeah. And you
Okay.
want to line your 0 points up with that line, the periphery line where you can fold the paper. So start at that 0 point on that bending part, that line, left margin, I should say, and then measure 5 inches in, and you're just making a mark. That part doesn't have to be any kind of size between the ruler and the edge of the paper. You're just making 2 marks on the top and the bottom, and then that can
Okay.
give you the
I
points
think
for.
I got that.
Yep,
I
cool.
like to confuse myself.
It's really good to start off on that note because then we can just breathe for the rest of it. Yep. Yeah, and then you've got the vertical line, and we want to take the 5.5 inch and make a mark because that's going to be our midpoint, right? Middle of that 5.5 inch. Oh, sorry, middle of that vertical line. All right. So everyone got that. Remember, I can only see 4 of us at a time. So if you need me to pause, you got to do it with your voice, or one of those reaction doohickeys, which I can't train myself to those. Okay. So 5.5 inch got the center of the page, and then we've got our compass as wide as 4 inches, nice wide one. And then we're going to put our compass in the center point, right? We made that center point on the line, and then that's going to give you a nice, huge circle. And that hopefully gives you like a little bit over 1/2 inch on the left margin. But we're over here today because we're going to build to the right. Beautiful. All right. Good. All right. And if we want to take pause with this beautiful shape, perhaps right here, and tune into if there's any place in your life where you would like a little more balance, right? If you want to bring an intention of harmony to some area of your life, relationships, work, meditation, house, home, life, all of it, harmony is the way. So perhaps taking a nice deep breath, connecting with that sense of balance as we draw the actual shape of it. Oh, I just love circles. And if you have an intention or a specific place of balance, you could write it up on the top of your page. Always good. And remember, we want to breathe consciously. We want to bring our breath into the geometry and breathe life into it. That deepens the relationship with it and deepens the efficacy. We love that word, don't we? All right. So we've got our circle. Now what are we doing? Okay. So compass point, you don't change the width. Is that right? Is that correct? Yes. No, nothing changes. It's still a 4-inch wide width, 4-inch wide radius. So you're going to put the compass at the bottom intersection of the circle and the vertical line. And then you're going to make a little mark on the right side of the circle. And you're going to swing it around and do that on the left side as well. So we've got equidistant marks on the right and left side of the vertical line. You guys are getting all the math lingo. You're getting all the geometry. You're going to be hanging out with your friends like Andrew, like dropping, yeah, we drew a dodecahedron the other day. You sound so cool. You can't even imagine how cool you sound when you throw the geometry around. So we got points on the right and left side, and we're going to repeat that step. Sorry, that's a little big, by putting the compass at the top intersection, right? So compass goes up here, and then you swing down to the right and left to make marks on the circle again. And so if you want to darken everything in, you've got these 4 new points on the right and left side of the vertical line, above and below the horizon, right? And if you remember from last week, this is also how we got to Metatron's cube, right? The circle is always showing us the next coordinates, right? Gives us a straight line, gives us space equally divided, right? We actually have 6 points, but we're only going to focus on these 4, the 6 being the top and bottom on the vertical line. All right, looks like we got that. Great. Anybody need another minute? I don't want to rush. Anybody, we got those. Okay, groovy. All right. So, Andrew, am I rushing you? Are you good? Okay. You all right? Okay. Thumbs up. Okay, you just let me know. Because everyone's given themselves this class, and awesome if we draw, but more awesome if we breathe. So, okay, now what are we doing? So compass, the radius is staying the same. I will tell you when to change it. So now what you want to do is use that bottom point that we drew, use that for your compass point, right? And then make a hash mark, right? Like an inch long line with your pencil right where it lands when you put your compass point here. All right, so this is a technique that geometrists everywhere you use in order to build shapes, which is to create hash marks. Yeah.
So what's the angle from the edge of the circle? I mean, you could make a hash mark at, a straight line or 60 degrees or 75 degrees.
Well, you're not changing the width of the compass. You're just going to make, you could start as though you were drawing a circle, and it's going to go over the horizon, the midsection. I'm not sure if I can get that right to you. Where your compass,
Right now it looks like your compass is placed at a 45-degree angle relative to the edge of the circle.
Okay, yes.
And that's my question. Is that what we're looking for?
I believe so. If you replicate the image on, where the compass is going, if you put your compass here, then you will naturally find a place to put a line. You could draw a whole circle there, but you just want a line that would cross over the horizon. Does that help at all?
Not really. I'll just go with it. Don't worry.
You could make the hash line at like the halfway point where the circle is. So the edge of the circle, the hash line is like the halfway point between the 2 dots.
Okay.
Awesome, Summer. Did that help you?
Does it technically matter where the hash line is? And more,
No,
you're just like somewhere in the middle.
well, you make a nice big one because we're gonna do the same step from above, and they'll intersect over each other.
Okay.
Right?
I think it'll make more sense once I see the next slide.
It will. So this is the next
It's like,
slide.
it's 4 inches, though. It's still 4 inches out.
Yes, the compass width does not change. We're just
No.
going to use the top and bottom points to make like when I say hash mark, you use like an inch long line that basically crosses the horizon, right? We're making the coordinates to make a horizontal line. Does
I
the
see
second?
now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the X. It's the middle of the X between the 2 points.
Exactly.
Got ya.
Hugh, did that help?
Yeah, the second line did it. It's like bisecting a line in geometry.
Yes, exactly. Because this is how to get coordinates for the phi, right? It's all related to itself, and so it's just using the points of the circle to show us the way. Okay, so you got it. So the second slide helps.
Yes,
Okay.
it did.
Great. And if there's a way, I like the way Summer said it, if there's a way that I can, that you would suggest to say it that's more helpful, I'm totally happy to keep learning and do that as well. My orientation is to the horizon, the horizontal line, right? That's how I know how to share it, and I don't know another way to say it. But that has given us the coordinates for our horizontal line, right? If you darken in that X marks the spot and use that center point, then we've got what we need to make a horizontal line that's going to end on the circle, right? It's totally fine if it doesn't, but also we only need it to go to the end of the circle. And it might confuse you if it goes past that. So maybe a good idea to keep it within the circle. And then just extend it. I believe I extended it to the just about the end of the page on the right-hand side. But how cool is that? We've now divided the circle into quarters, right? So you can get that kind of division by using, like, we didn't do anything other than use the shape. We haven't added anything. All right. So there we go. Looks like it's coming along. All right. Looking good. Okay. Looks like we got it. Always remember to jump in if I'm going too fast. Now what we're going to do, same strategy, right? That same technique of making a hash mark. Okay. So compass has not changed in the width at all. You know, the pencil on the right is just what I use to prop the compass. So you can totally ignore that. Compass point is going to go on that intersection of the horizontal line and the circle. And you're going to make a hash mark, right? You're going to make an inch, just about an inch line. You can make it bigger if it helps you with this step. You can make 2-inch long line, but we're going to do that pattern of compass point and making a hash mark above the horizontal line. And then same thing, making a hash mark below the horizontal line, right? So you're swinging it to the top. You're making at that point, it's just a line. And then on the bottom, you're swinging it and making a line down there. I think an inch is a great approximation, but you can overshoot the mark to help ensure that you find it. All right. And then we're going to do that same step from the bottom, right? So if your compass point goes on the bottom intersection and you swing it to the right, that's going to give you that intersection point, right? This is going to be the same pattern again and again from each point. So you did that on the right side, and now you're going to swing the compass over to the left side, right? Same step where the compass swings to either side of the central line. And you can make a hash mark, compass down here on the bottom, and then your compass is going to go on the top left as well. And you're going to do that same step, making a hash mark above in the corner. And then the line below will give you the X on the
So
bottom.
we're doing the same hash marks on the top that we just did on the bottom?
Perfect. Exactly. Yes. You
Great.
go around and compass point goes to all 4 points, and that will give you all hash marks on the 4 corners of what we're going to do now, which is squaring the circle. So that's, I don't give you step by step on that one. I do the first 2 steps, and then we've got the last, what it looks like. So did everybody follow along with that it's working out? It's the same repeated pattern. Okay, looks like we've got some heads nodding, and we're still working on it. Don't worry. Not going to rush you past anything. All right. Let me do this. Okay. Looking good. Just checking in here. All right, so we've got all 4 points. Let's see, let me come out of screen share. Thumbs up on all 4 points. Groovy. Okay. Oh, we got a friend in the house. All right. Oh, beauty. Oh my gosh. So pretty. All right. Here we go. Let's see, where are we at now? We've got all 4 points. I recommend darkening in the centers of those. It'll just help you find it. And we know that precision is silly, but we do little tricks to help with it. So, and And what I want to say is, if you look at my shape here, my horizontal line is like just tilted just slightly to the bottom. You know, here I am demonstrating that I just kind of never get it vertical or horizontal either. So don't worry if yours is a little bit off. Oh, so we're going to use the hash marks, right? To cut a diagonal line, and you only want the line to be inside the circle, right? So you're using the top right and bottom left hash marks, hash points, to create a diagonal line and divide the circle again. Oh boy, I forgot to mention about drawing lightly. If you haven't, it's no problem. If you can, it helps, right? It's just we're gonna erase a lot of this. So we've got the right side diagonal. Now we're gonna do that on the left side. So same exact step, using the hash marks on the top left and bottom right to create a circle divided into 8. And this is where it starts to feel kind of mathy, kind of cool, like we're using the shape, we're dividing space. It's a totally different shape than the other ones we've been doing. And usually it's satisfying, like kind of more satisfying to some people in the class. It just uses a different element of our brains. Whether it's just the left side, I don't know. Okay, great. Looks like we're set. Now we're going to create a box and just connecting the 4 points. Well, 8 points, 4 points on the diagonal. Boy, mine is just super tilted down. It's fabulous. It's sharing the human. You know, I did a class, I might have said this before, but I was drawing the Sri Yantra with someone and they were teaching. And I've often wondered if I should do these designs in graphic, you know, if I should do the patterns in graphic design, funnily enough, for the precision. And what I come down to every time is that it's good that it's hand-drawn images, because there was a real disconnect that his image was graphic design and mine was the pencil. So I love all of its imperfections, right? And then the implications of that, like there's so many subtle, not subtle implications when we draw, right? Like if we can practice on this piece of paper saying, oh, how fun, it's really off, you know, or, oh, there's that I did inaccurately. Then, you know, maybe, you know, the compassion that we cultivate as we're drawing these shapes, maybe that translates into a greater sense of compassion in life when we, you know, glitch things or botch things, or any number of ways to say that we are inaccurate in life. I don't want to say mistakes because I don't know, mistakes. I don't think there is such a thing. Okay, we got the square. Great. Now, here's what we're doing.
Sorry, wait, I don't have the square.
Okay.
Can you just hold on? Can you go back to that one again? The previous
square
slide.
here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me just, was that Alicia?
It was Karen.
Oh, hi, Karen. Okay, yeah, let me know when you got it. I can wax poetic about the implications for drawing sacred geometry on our psyche for a long time.
All right, I'm all set.
Okay, great. So here we go. Okay, so we are going to use our ruler to measure here this width from the bottom central vertical intersection, right, of the bottom horizontal line, that corner up diagonally to the top. Now, this is where some of the inconsistencies have shown up. That likely is a measurement of 6¼ inches. Doesn't have to be, but usually it is. If it is not for you, don't worry about it because the shape is drawn to the scale of itself. So I'm just offering that. Whatever the measurement is, right? If it's 6¼ great. If it's a little less or a little more, what we're going to do is we're going to use that width. We're not drawing a line. Sorry if that was not clear. What we're going to do, and if you did, it's not a problem. What we're going to do is use that measurement to draw a horizontal line down on the bottom. So you're going to start your 0 point at the intersection of the central vertical line and then extend it out to 6 1/4. So what it's going to look like this, it's this, right? You're going to start the line at that central line and you're going to extend it out. We'll just say 6 1/4 for everybody. I know sometimes it's a little bit off. 6 1/4. Draw a horizontal line. Pay a little close attention to here, starting at this center point. Sometimes people will start all the way to the left corner. That's not what you want to do. You want to start at the center, this center vertical line, the one we had from the beginning. Start there, extend the line 6 1/4 inches, right? So what we're actually creating here is that ratio of 1 to 1.618. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, if it's 6 5/16, should I use that length for the rest of it or just stay with 6 1/4?
5/16. Oh,
Yeah, it's a 16th longer.
let me see. Okay, go for that. Go for 15. Go for that. 5/16.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be all right. Because the shape is done to its own scale. It's related to itself. So a measurement won't be off because it's related to itself.
Okay.
Okay, so we got this step down here, horizontal line. Now we're going to do the same thing on the top, right? So starting at this center point, right? The central vertical line, not all the way to the left, starting in the center, create a line that's 6 1/4 inch long that looks like this. Exact same thing as the bottom. We're just mirroring that on the top. Right? And then once you've got that, we're just going to connect those 2 points. Right? Connect the points. Yeah, Mike. Oh, did you come off mute? Oh, I thought I saw you. Okay. So connecting these 2 points on the top and bottom to complete the rectangle, right? And you can kind of you can guesstimate a little bit if it's off or it's it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't there's no way to possibly embrace how imperfect the shape will likely be. But we're just going to shoot for it to come out as close as we can. So here we have created the ratio of 1 to 1.618, right? We've got this rectangle on the right and then a square on the left. Rectangle is 1, square is 1.618, square, quote unquote. All right. How's it going? I'm going to come out of screen share. Do we have the closed in rectangle?
Could you go back to that a minute? I didn't
Yeah.
get it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, here we go. So,
So the vertical line goes all the way up now. Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yep, you're going to connect the top and bottom. Right. All right. Everybody take a nice deep breath. Well done. We've got some good math happening because I believe now, oh, yep, we're erasing everything except these lines, right? So erasing everything except the square on the left and the rectangle on the right. And I'm not sure there's a way to explain it that will make sense at this point, but nope.
So did you erase half of that center box? I'm very confused about what was removed.
Okay, so the lines, right? Basically the rectangle, the big rectangle, you're going to leave the large rectangle and you're going to leave this vertical line that is not the center line. It's this vertical line. Does that help if I go back and forth? Did that help?
So yeah, so the circle goes away.
Yeah.
And the square remains, and
Yes.
all the lines inside the square and inside the rectangle go away.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. Everything except these 3 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. it's always really something to erase as well. There's something, you know, you've worked and you've built this shape and and it's just all disappears, right? Let me just, oh, well, that's not helpful at all. Okay, there we go. Okay, great. This is why I think on the, oh gosh, why is it happening? Oh boy, no, didn't want that. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna pop out of screen share. Chatting as a guest. Okay. How is it going? We're erasing. Okay. All right. Looking good. Okay. When we used to, you know, when we did classes in person and people would share a table, I just loved because the erasing, like you would just jiggle each other. It was just one of my favorite things. I miss classes in person for sure. I mean, I'm prohibited because I live a ways away now, but otherwise we could have them in person now, I think. So, all right, still erasing. Those lines there are going to stay. So if you want to darken them in, you can for sure do that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. And Brooke, I know you didn't want to check in, but I was kind of curious as to how it's going with the puppy. Yeah.
I am mute.
Yeah. Now you're off mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's fine. I had to get up and go. He barks when he hears this meeting. He's
Yeah.
upstairs, so I have to go calm
Oh.
him down.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's just such a brand new thing to have a big puppy
Yeah.
now in your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
but
exciting.
we're doing good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Thanks.
Good. All right. So erasing and erasing. Got it. I can only use a couple people as my unit of measurement, so we're still going because we got the majority erasing. Yeah. Yeah. And even though it's, I know it's interrupting since we had Andrew's kitty on screen, I'll just show you my boy. He's just the best thing ever. He's so handsome. Oh my God, he's so handsome. Just so handsome. He's my boy. A little over
So
attached.
you keep saying, don't worry about perfection. And well, one thing that strikes me with this is we're putting a mathematical model with some exactitude to it, but nature is not exact like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken an average and then applied a formula to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So imperfect is the way nature runs.
Brilliant. Well done. Nicely played. I appreciate that. So the take home, right, of Perfectly Imperfect, it's not a Zen oriented class, but it's, you know, there is a sense of peace that can come with adopting that. I mean, in so many ways, I'm just ruthless with myself. So if I could just get a little bit towards acceptance, I mean, a lifelong pursuit, that'd be awesome. A little bit easier on myself. Okay.
I like to
Yeah.
think of myself as Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way.
Oh, that's fabulous. See, now we could shoot for that, right? Not just like acceptance of the imperfections, but that we're absolutely awesome. Yes, that's something. That's a whole nother level. Okay, everybody got the rectangle. We good. Erasing is complete. Fabulous. All right. So now we're going to divide some space. Here we go. Okay. So what are we doing? We are now going to make a diagonal line from the top right corner to the bottom left corner. And these aren't going to go anywhere either, but I do a little bit lighter because sometimes there's some erasing that happens in here just from errors. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is not a great time for a lapse. Okay. All right. There we go. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So he's 14 pounds. So we've got this diagonal line. Yep. Okay. Now we're gonna divide, right? So here's this rectangle. We're dividing this rectangle on the diagonal. Now we're gonna divide this rectangle on the diagonal, right? So it's the exact same step. It's just pivoted to the left. Cutting that rectangle in half. Bisecting. Fabulous word. All right. So we got that part. We're on the linear, we're on the lines and the rational element first, and then we'll add the compass in, bring in that sort of more quote unquote divine feminine aspect. So our shape's going to look like this. All right. Now you're going to close your compass. We're coming back to the compass, and you're going to close it to the width of the compass point being at the bottom intersection of the vertical and horizontal line. Open it until it is parallel with this inner intersection that we drew, that diagonal line where it intersects on the vertical line. Now, what you're going to do is literally slide the compass over to the right, and you're going to make a mark, same width, right? Making a mark, putting the compass point down in the corner, making a mark, just like we do to make an intersection where we're going to, you know, mark it for the next line, right? So literally just dragging it over to the right, not making the line yet, making that mark. And then those give us the coordinates for the next horizontal line, right? That's really black because I had to do it that way, but it's just that line right there. And now what we've done is we've created another perfect ratio, right? The segment above is 1. The segment below the pencil is 1.618, right? So we keep dividing this rectangle. It's golden because this ratio will repeat itself again and again. Okay, so horizontal line, you can see the rectangle on the top of this and the square on the bottom. Okay, everybody's still drawing, so I'm not going to rush anybody. Yeah, looking good. Oh, you goofball, what are you doing? Okay, that was to my cat, not anybody on the call. Okay, we got this horizontal line looking good. Still got some heads down. Okay, Hugh, Mike, you good? You're got your head still down. Okay, all is well. All right. Okay, so now we're going to repeat that step. You're going to close your compass to the width between this intersection of the horizontal line we just made and the boundary, vertical boundary, and then the intersection of the vertical line with the horizontal line that we just drew. So closing your compass to this width, right? And then very, you know, same step as before, just as if you were going to drag your compass up to the upper horizontal boundary, right? Just making a little mark. So your compass point comes up to the right-hand corner, and then you're going to make a little mark, right? This is the same exact step. We're just going to repeat the step again and again. So once you make that mark, you've got your points, got your 2 points to draw that vertical line. And here you've got that super cool ratio again, right? On the left, this is 1. On the right with the square, this is 1.618, right? It keeps repeating that ratio. And it's going to be the same step every time. All right. So now we're going to close our compass to the width. And sorry, because it's upside down. I should have, for consistency's sake, I should have put the compass point at the top. But closing the compass to the width between that intersection of the diagonal line and vertical line, and then up to the top horizontal boundary, right? And here's the inconsistency, right? You'd be be the other way around. So compass point goes on the top corner there of the rectangle, and then you're going to make a line. You're going to make a mark at that same distance, same width. And then you've got your 2 points to make the next vertical line. I'm just going to pause here, make sure everybody's coming along. And you can see again, we've got that ratio 1 to 1.618. We've got the small rectangle and the cube, right? And we're just dividing again and again with the same pattern. I think usually it's on the second time that you start to grok how cool this thing is, and maybe a couple years, because honestly, it's been a slow build for me with the shape. But this now has given us the coordinates for the same step. Again, let me come out of screen share. Is everybody doing okay? We got this pattern? Okay, cool. Thumbs up, right back into it. So you've got, we're going to close our compass to this width, right? So intersection point of the diagonal and that horizontal line we just drew. I keep flipping the compass. I'm sorry about that. And then right parallel to that gives you the same width, right? You're going to make a mark right on that vertical line just below. And those are our 2 points for the next. Oh, I said horizontal. I said vertical when it was horizontal. Sorry. So this is our next vertical line right there. Tiny little one. And here you've got the rectangle again, dividing itself, the segment of 1 on the right, and then 1.618 with the cube. And we're getting all of the coordinates from the shape, right? It's just showing us the same thing. We've got this next point. Here we go. We're going to get a little bit smaller, just a little bit. Here you've got the width from the vertical line connecting to the, intersecting to the diagonal. And that width is, you're going to pull that, you're going to just pull the compass to the right, make a little mark on the right side. And then you're connecting those 2 points with a horizontal line, right? And here we have repeated that pattern again. Same thing again and again. And I think we try to do it one more iteration, but right around here, it starts to get a little tight, little close quarters. So here's your intersection on the bottom. Oops, let me show you with the compass, right? The width, you close to the diagonal line and the horizontal line we just made, right? So you're closing the compass to that tiny width. And then you're going to go right above it up to that horizontal line, making a mark with the same width of the compass. And, you know, you can see it can get a little mushy in here. If you'd like, you can eyeball it, right? You can just scrap the compass and use the measurements like we are. And this is your last iteration of that little rectangle in there. I'm pretty sure I went one more iteration, but it just got, I did not. This is where we stopped. So let me, I'm just going to come out of screen share because
Can
now
you
we're
go
going
back
to.
one slide?
Oh, yes. Hi, Leiko. All right. Back one slide here. Is that, this was the one, oh, now you're muted though. Is this the, yes, it's measuring this width right here, right? The width between that diagonal and horizontal, right? And then you would just drag the compass up and make a mark with that distance. Did that make sense?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. And then that's your last vertical line, right? So we've seen the pattern repeat again and again, where it's the 1 to 1.618, and you're just using the intersections to divide. That's part of what makes it golden, is that harmonic. It's kind of like golden sort of being the epitome, right? The highest iteration, the highest expression of the pattern, right? Of this harmonic. So I've said that like 50 times. I've used the word harmonic so much today. Okay. But the idea being, just like with the seed of life, right? And the symmetry, this has its own symmetry that our systems are then lining up with. So much is going on here. And the more we tune into that, the more we bring our conscious awareness to it, the deeper the shape goes. All right. So we've got this. Everybody, I'm just going to come out. Love to get the thumbs up. Everybody's set. Does anybody need anything else? We're good. Awesome. Okay. So now we're coming into the compass. All right. So sometimes this is where compasses don't open the whole way. And I hope we haven't run into that. But if yours does not, let me know. We're going to open our compass to the width of, let me just get a little closer. This diagonal point, right? This is the inner vertical line. Compass point goes there. Opening the pencil to the far left corner. And then you're going to ballpark. Here's where a lot of ballparking happens. You want to, I recommend touching the pencil up at the top left corner. And then before you draw the arc, touching it down here to the bottom intersection, because there's a lot of fudging here. It's going to happen. And the thing that you want to have line up is the corner where the pencil, the corner of the curve on the bottom, right? The finishing point of the curve. So here again is the practice of imperfection. So we've got this downward sloping curve, right? We're going to be spiraling in. And now your compass point is going to be here. Now let me get it right. Okay. So the next innermost corner, right? Center intersection of the shape, compass is going on the bottom, kind of lining up where the arc just ended, and you're going to swoop up to the top right intersection. And this is what I mean. You can see that I've made the line, the arc continuous, right? Because I fudged the compass point a little bit, and I just tapped to the top and the bottom, and I just kind of tried to prioritize the arc lining up, which means you have to jimmy the corner, you know, the compass point a little bit. So it's really fine to do that. And it's also fine to not do it.
I'm not getting that first arc. You had us measure at the top and then you drew it from the bottom, but it's the same width at the bottom, right?
Yes, your compass point is going to go, you're going to open from this center
Right.
point to the right, and your compass width is going to stay the same. And you're
Yeah.
just going to draw that arc that comes down, right?
So you're drawing it from the top to the bottom?
Exactly. Top left corner to the bottom central
Thank
line.
you.
Okay. You got that part? Okay. Great. So then compass point is going to come to the center intersection of the vertical and horizontal, and you're going to close the compass to the width of the bottom horizontal boundary, right? So closing the compass, then this gives us the width to cut that next square and swing up with the compass. Now, it might be getting a little wonky here. Don't worry about it. Just keep going with it. And it's like with the squares that we are dividing the space again and again in the same way. So we've got that. I see some heads still down. I don't want to rush ahead. Okay, looking all right. All right, great. Tell me if I go too fast. Compass point now is going to come to this inner point here, right? We're taking the inside corner point every time. And then your compass is going to close to the width here. What did I do? Where's my compass? Okay, yeah, that's why I did it. I skipped this arc. So closing your compass to this width, putting your compass point at the red point here, you're going to make the arc swinging up. And sorry, because my compass got in the way. I did the next step. I didn't show you drawing the arc. So compass point is going to go here at this central intersection. And you're going to close the width of it to the boundary, right where the arc ends. You're going to just pick up the arc and swing it up to the top. right? So we're getting that spiral going, and it doesn't make any sense in our brains. We're like, you look at it, it's like, nope, that's not going to fit. And then you close the compass to the width of this point, this length, this width, all of it. Compass point. It's the inner corner of that cube, right? We're measuring from the inner corner of every cube. So compass point goes here, closing the compass to that width. We're going to cut that arc. Sorry, cut that next cube. And I think here you could see my line starts to go outside of the rectangle. You can just fudge it, right? You can just keep adjusting your compass point and your compass width to try and get the spiral continuous. So here's this arc that we just did. Is everybody going? I feel like I'm going too fast. Just pause with this. All right. Just stop here before we go on to another step because I see heads down. Don't want to be rushing. I can go back to any step at any point. Right. And you can see like our brains, like if you look at this point, you're like, this isn't going to work out to spiral, but you keep moving the point, the compass point in to the relative relational point and the spiral happens. So once you've got this point, right, you're going to come in and there's only 2 more steps. You're doing great. You're going to close your compass to this width, right? The compass point goes at the intersection of the vertical and the inner horizontal, right? Again, this is the innermost corner of this cube. And then you're going to swing your compass point down through that cube on the diagonal, making that arc. It's happening. Even if it's not. Even if it's not, we're imprinting our psyches as to how it is going to happen. So if you're watching along, you're getting the idea. Even if you don't have the muscle memory of the action, it will look more familiar and you'll have the video and the steps and you can go at your own pace, which is just so brilliant. And now it starts to get super tiny. And if you want to just eyeball this, I think this is the last one that's easy to do. So we're going to come in and we're going to shift our compass point. Now it's going to be really tiny. Compass point's going to go to that inner central corner of this cube. Right, so you can see it mirrors the rectangle on the linear pattern, but we're doing it on the arc and the spiral. Closing your compass to this width and then spiraling that arc upwards. And I'm pretty sure I just eyeballed the last one because it gets hard with your compass. I mean, if you have a super fine compass point that you sharpened, sometimes it's possible, but I mean, it's definitely possible. We're just talking about relative ease. Okay. And there it is. It just kind of pops up backwards. I think this one sort of slowly builds. Do I need to go back to any of the steps? They're looking good. All right. Got the heads down. Mike, how's it going? You look done. Okay, thumbs up. Okay. I'm going to leave this up. Well, we'll do a little check-in in a minute. I want to see everybody's if they want to show. And then I think we're going to have time for this meditation because we are going to just drop into how infinite we are. All right. I'm going to come off screen share. How is it going? Can we do a little share and tell? Anybody want to share their FI? Let us know how it went. No pressure, but you know, it gives each other some nice validation. Yeah, Mike, how's it going?
It's amazing how this works.
Right?
It's like a mind blow.
Will you hold it back up? We only saw like the top bit of it. Right? Look at it. It's boggling how it shows up. We build it backwards.
Yeah, it's just the math in there is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
How long ago was this figured out by someone?
Um,
Well, the Greeks knew about it.
mhm. Greeks knew. I would see. I'm tricky on this one because I go into extraterrestrial advanced civilization stuff, and I go, yeah, this was known in genetics like hundreds of millions of years ago, but not for us. So for us, I don't know the answer to that. But that is a great question. Because the thing is this ratio, it to me, it's God, right? Like I was saying, it's like, I don't know how we found out, right? Like, that's just a really esoteric, far out answer. Should have something more substantive for you, Mike.
The Egyptians knew about phi or phi.
Yep, they sure did. The pyramids built in that ratio. And then the Egyptians, you go back to the Atlanteans, right? And pre-common known history on our planet. It is a little bit of a rabbit hole. It is a little bit of a rabbit hole once you start to peel back some of the geometry. Great question, Mike. I love that it's gotcha. It just looks like it got you. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, Karen. All right. Let's see. Hang on. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on off mute. Oh, your yeah, it's so quiet and gentle. Your spiral. What do you think?
I love it.
Awesome. Well done. Yeah, it feels really different than the other ones we've been doing, right?
There's a lot. It's a mix of some beautiful, like sacred, precise math and flow. Because there's a gentleness to it,
right?
Mixed in with the precision of it.
Right? That's the harmonizing. Oh my gosh. Oh, pardon me. That's the harmonizing element, right? The masculine, feminine, whichever, however you want to call that, right? It's bringing those elements of, structure and gentle together, right? Love it. I'm so glad you love it. I see. It's like I'm kind of holding my breath as we're going through it. I'm like, all right, it's happening, right? And then it's really worth it because you get to the end and it's like, oh, I got it, and I see the
one thing I had to play with is the my pencil tip on my compass. It's a fine point on one end and then not on the other. So sometimes I just kind of had to fudge a little with the arcs.
Yeah.
Just because of this. So I might try to work on getting more of a fine tipped pencil point on the compass.
The other thing is you can get little bits of sandpaper. You just sharpen it as you go.
Okay.
That's how to do it with that one. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. My pleasure. All right. All right, Summer, you jumping in. You look like you're in the you want to come off mute and tell us what you think?
Yeah, that was cool.
Nice. Nice.
So I had a hard time with the curves as well. I kind of fudged it because they were going to all go outside of my lines. And so I just kind of fudged them and it was really light. So I took some time to like make the lines darker so I could really see it, And I do know that I'm going to try to draw it again and I'm going to have to watch the video this class because it's a lot to grasp. Just like the complexity of drawing it in the beginning and then how you have to just kind of minimize it all. And then it gets so much more complex.
You've got it. You've got it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for what this thing holds. I mean, it first time doing it, first time bringing it together. I mean, it was 5 years into it before I really went to the next step of how deep it can take us, right? Because this is the structure of our DNA. We're speaking to our DNA here. This is big stuff. Thanks for calling that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. And it is about fudging, right? And I like to make this, the loop, the curve continuous. And so you do have to move the compass point a little bit to do that.
Yeah.
Right on.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah, thank you. Who would like to, anybody want to share next at all? No pressure. No pressure.
I'll share.
Hi, Chris. Yeah.
Hi. Well, I mean, it just is something like it seemed to just unfold for me as I was doing. It seemed so precise, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I see it. Yeah, I see why there's a balance that you talked about balance at the beginning of it, because it does somehow. It's like I didn't believe it was going to work out, and then it did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
an
kind of like back
unfurling,
engineering.
unfurling. Yeah,
What's that?
it's like an unfurling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
Mhm.
it. And there's also like the feeling of it, right? Like there's the math and the, okay, I got the technique, but then it's like, ooh, oh, look at the harmony. It's like 100 times I've said harmony today.
But it's like a little bit of awe. I felt a little bit of awe
Yeah,
as I was going through it. So that is really cool for me. It
very
feels
cool.
good. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, so great. All right. Anybody else want to share? All right, Brooke. Yeah, let's see it. Oh, we got the blue. I love the blue. We got Andrew's red. We've got your blue. I love it. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, beautiful.
And so what occurred to me is if we put hash marks, halfway at each of these lines and connected those, you'd have a tapering. It's like an
Oh,
economist shell type
oh, wow.
situation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There, and it would, you'd have
yeah.
to eyeball it. I don't know how you make the compass do that, because I think it would vary. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that's just something else to add on to it.
Oh, I love it. That seems in action like what I experienced as just like true art, where you see something and you're inspired. You go, "Ooh, I got to do that next," and that's brilliant. I've not ever seen anyone, sort of mirror like that. Now, of course, you have to do that.
I also remember hearing about this golden ratio on 60 Minutes like 20 years ago. And they had
Mhm.
some of those same pieces of art where they'd shown the proportions. And I thought that was really interesting. And I was wondering if this class was going to cover that. So I'm glad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. Mhm.
you're welcome. Yeah, it's just fundamental, and I love to do it this way versus the way I did it. All right. Anybody else want to share? We're going to jump into a meditation here. Let's see. All right. Okay, Leiko, you coming? You got to undo your, oh, she's getting fast at the blur, I'm sure. All right, let's see. Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. All right. Do you want to come off mute? And I know it's a lot to ask for the mute and the blur. There we go. Come up. And there you go. Ooh, yeah. Beautiful. Are you saying things? Because I can't hear you.
No, I'm not saying
Oh,
anything.
okay. I love it. Did you see now I love this so much because like on Karen's, I could see the squares and the spiral was really faint. And in yours, the spiral is the prominent one. What do you think of that?
I darkened it in because I was slightly off, but if I colored it in with a thicker color, then it was perfect because it matched both of my weird lines, my imperfect. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, nice. It's so beautiful. And I love just seeing the spiral mostly. I haven't seen that, highlighted before. That's great. Love it. Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to share before we do our meditation? I love it. I love it, Summer and Leiko, that you guys are drawing the fire together. It's so fun. All right. All right. Alicia, Andrew, you guys are off key or off key? Yeah, you guys are off camera. I just want to make sure you're doing all right. Don't want to plow forward.
Yeah, thank you. All is well.
Okay, all is well. Wonderful. And Alicia as well. Brooke, you just came off mute. Did you have something else you wanted to share?
Oh, question before I forget. So does the next sequence of classes start next week? And you
No.
mentioned, okay.
Right, next week we'll do the 5th class of
Okay.
level 1, which
Okay.
is the flower of life,
Okay.
right?
All
And then we'll get into level 2 the following week.
Okay.
So
you.
basically, it's just bumped everything, and the level 2 will have an add-on.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay, thank you. So what I would like to do, this is about, yeah, I want to say 8 minutes, but I don't know about time. So I would like to guide us on a meditation, and I want to invite you to participate and just allow yourself to go into this process, because I want to, we've drawn, and I'm not going to talk too much, but we've drawn and we've experienced this pattern in the on the 2D, but in our 3D, but geometry, the fractalizing, the infinite nature of these patterns invites us to contemplate ourselves as infinite beings, right? Just like standard model physics, everything has just limited us to thinking that we're just 3D, right? But we are infinite beings. We have 10% of our consciousness here, 90% of our subconscious mind, it's all in there. We are, technically, if you want to go all the way back, infinite beings. There is so much more to us. So I want to use the geometry and kind of apply it in a little practice here. So this is a meditation. If you just want to listen along and you don't want to participate, that's fine too. But for those of you who do, I want to invite you to just get yourself in a comfortable position and nice and relaxed, and bringing your attention inward, closing your eyes, beginning to connect with your breath, and taking nice deep breaths through your nose and releasing deep breaths out through your mouth. And just grounding with your breath, letting go of any tension we might have been in our minds, just focus with the drawing, just letting it go, connecting to your body and bringing your awareness into the present moment where you don't really have to think, but just breathing and listening. Taking deep breaths in and letting deep breaths out. Bringing yourself as fully as possible into this present moment and orienting yourself to a state of receptivity. Feeling a sense of openness with each breath. Feeling your body becoming heavier and more relaxed with each breath. Sinking into the surface supporting you. Breathing deeply and rhythmically. And allow this meditation to awaken your ancient intelligence of the cosmos. Breathing deeply and rhythmically, finding the stillness within your being. Imagine you can feel the trillions of cells within your body. Take a deep breath and feel your cellular structure working together in effortless harmony for your well-being. Feel and imagine how your body is alive with trillions of cells, participating in millions of biological processes every second of every minute of every day for our entire existence. Nice deep breaths. And now imagine yourself as a single cell in a larger collective body. Imagine that as a human being, you exist among trillions of other living beings, functioning as cells in the living body of our planet. Feel yourself as a part of this profound collective organism. You are one cell among trillions of others, coexisting as one planetary being. Taking a deep breath in, releasing out. Now imagine the collective living entity of our planet as one organism within trillions of organisms in the brilliant body of our galaxy. A single planet as a single cell in the luminous body of our spiraling galaxy. And breathing into that expanded state of consciousness. Imagining billions of microscopic planetary organisms within the body of our galactic constellation. Feeling each organism containing infinite subatomic particles of existence. All of us moving in relationship to one another in the cosmic breath of life. Taking a deep breath in, feeling your body. Deep breath out. Envision our radiant galaxy as one single organism in the infinite being of our universe. Trillions of galaxies spiraling in the infinite structure of space-time as one being, as one universe. Breathing deeply, feel the infinite stars in the night sky. Feel the galaxies within our universe, as infinite as the cells in your body. We are made of stardust. We are a collective of living organisms existing within a collective of living organisms existing within a living collective of organisms, extending beyond an infinite scale of universes. And we are one universe existing within one dimension, existing within another dimension, existing within an infinite scale of dimensions. Our presence within this vast and expansive collective reality is profound and deeply significant. Consider the miracle of your life within this perspective of infinite scale. Consider the improbability of our convergence together in these particular space-time coordinates. The odds of rendezvousing in this present moment, in this human form, on this planet, in our galaxy, in this quadrant of our universe, and in this dimensional reality are astonishing. When we connect with the vast and expansive nature of our existence, we open ourselves to the true potential as galactic beings within multidimensional consciousness. Deep breath in, deep breath out. We are made of stardust. Coming back to your body as the cluster of stardust that it is. Breathe into the cells in your body as infinite as the stars in the night sky. Taking a few more deep breaths, feeling the weight of your body sitting on the chair the floor. Wriggling your cosmic fingers and toes. Connect with your body as one living organism among several in this virtual space we create. Taking a few more deep breaths and coming back to your visual connection. Grounding. Feeling each other on this call. It's absolutely outrageous that we're here together. And I just love to take a minute to reflect and remember that infinite perspective. Anybody have any thoughts or reflections before we finish up? All good? Right. Fabulous. Oh, Andrew, if you were on mute, I didn't hear you. Were you up? Yeah. Did you want to say, it looked like you said something, but we
Oh,
didn't hear.
thank you. That was lovely.
Oh, cool. Good. So glad. Yeah, Karen.
Think on reflection, I was brought to the macrocosm and the macrocosm, just the how unified we all are, and also paying a lot more attention, being a lot nicer to my body, realizing really going into the cells and the chance of me being here in this form. I thought I need to treat my body in a more sacred way.
Mm-hmm. I love that integration. Yeah. We just go around taking these things for granted. We're just like, oh, yep. Autonomic systems working without me thinking about it. It's good to pause. Yeah. All right. Great. So, next week, we'll do the Flower of Life. Mike, you're going to be in Costa Rica? Are you, you can join with the recording. They're always recorded with the PDFs, but we'll miss you.
Yeah, I mean, if you download the how to do it, I'll do it
Okay, great.
before I leave.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. It's been wonderful to spend another evening with you all. Thank you. And I will see you next week, hopefully. And we will just keep on keeping on with this harmonic existence. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.